ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਪੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਪੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਉਦਤੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵਾ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਗੁਰ ਅੰਗਦ ਪੇਵਾ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਗੁਰ ਅਮਰ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਗੁਰਵਾਰੇ ਪੁਰਖ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਰਜਨ ਸੁਖਦਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਹਰਿ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਗੁਣ ਖਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਰਾਏ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਹਰਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਧਿਆਏ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਰਾਏ ਸਹਿਬੰ ਗੁਰ ਦਸਮੇ ਸਹਾਏ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਗੁਰ ਗਿਆਨਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਬੰਦਨ ਭਗਵਾਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਕਲ ਯੁਗ ਪਇਓ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਰੂਪ ਮਹਾਨ 10 ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਇਹ ਰੂਪ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਜੀ ਜਾਨ पूरन देखियो आत्मा द्वैत सर्व निवार पै शांत ए शांत होए ते पद नमो हमार कहाँ बुद्ध प्रभु तुझ हमारी बरन सके महिमा जो तहारी हम न सकत कर सिर्फ तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सदारी सो कह टल गुरु सेविय अहनिस सहज सवाय दर्शन परसिय गुरु के जन्म मरण दुख जाय दर्शन परसिय गुरु के जन्म मरण दुख जाय।
सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जी। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभਉ निरवैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है पी सच नानक होसी पी सच।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਫਤਿਹ। We are on our 5th Katha video based on the Sri Japji Sahib from Sampardaic Arts. In the previous video we did the initial basic definitions of the Sri Mool Mantra, which according to Sampardaic Tike Pothiyan, it is from Ik Onkar to Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. Today we're going to go on to the second lot of definitions. Got a feeling here that we might just be able to cover the first the definitions for Ik Onkar only, so we're going to start on that. The Uttanaka, in Sampardaic Kathas they have Uttanakas before each Shabad. An Uttanaka is a preface. A preface is a testimony or a story that takes place to give you a reason why a Shabad was uttered or performed. A lot of Shabads within Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji were performed as a direct response to something, whether that was an incident or a question or to eradicate the ignorance of an individual. And here Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, whilst going through the world, whilst trying to save all the souls that they could, through their hukum they decided to go to Mount Samir Parbat. There are existing controversies or contradictions where it says either it's Samir Parbat, so the Mount Samir, or Meru. Both of these mounts are mythical mountains that cannot be seen with the natural eye. There are those that say that with the mind's eye or the third eye that a person is able to see this. But Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji made their way here, because there was no point for Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji having the odd discussion with those people who had no ranking or place within the educated society. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji wanted to get rid of the ignorance and the arrogance of those people who were out there teaching others, those people who were out there who were going and spreading the word of God, but instead of spreading the word of God they were giving their own values, putting their own beliefs out there. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, along with their companions Bhai Balaji, Bhai Mardana Ji, made their way up to the Samir Parbat. And using their ability they were able to do this, because like I said, it's a mountain that cannot be seen. It's on par of looking at the Greek traditions of Mount Olympus. It's a mount that isn't there or cannot be seen. There are only certain spiritual people within their realm that have been there. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji was going there to Samir Parbat for one reason and one reason only, and that's because Gorakhnath, who was the leader of the yogis or the Siddhs, he was there at the time, along with his 84 Siddhs, 84 Siddhs who were his companions. And it was Gorakhnath's influence on India at the time that had caused most of the society to delve into the mat of the yogis, the order of the yogis, and they listened to the yogis. They revered the yogis, and the reason for this was the yogis had become corrupted in their own power. They used their own abilities for themselves. They showed their miracles to people in order to get them to fear them and follow them. And even though the yogis say they are exempt from Maya, Maya is the illusion known as Maya. The illusion is everything that can be seen is Maya. Maya is translated loosely as that which is not. And they were engrossed in Maya even though they stated that they were remaining unattached. There are stories that will come later on about Gorakhnath getting involved in sexual desires, Machandranath getting involved in sexual desires and Gorakhnath having to save him. And then you've got other things that go on with Bhartri, where he was a king previously, Jalpatnath, Gangunath, all of these yogis are mentioned, but they were there on Samir Parvat, where Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji along with his companions decided to go. And once they got onto these snow-cladded mountains, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji was seen by the yogis. And the yogis asked him through what Shakti, what power or what ability had brought him to the top of the mount where the yogis were hidden away from society, staying away from society, and they were in their own congregation. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states that it is through the power of God, it is through the mantra of Vaheguru, it is through Ik Oankar that the name of God has given them the ability to come to the Samir Parvat. So then the Siddhs obviously have a discussion with Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji on his basis of religion, ethics, morality. And obviously some of those questions are covered in the basic questions that took place prior to the Japji Sahib with regards to whether the Gurbani was independent or against the Vedas, why Guru Nanak Dev Ji had to come down. Those sorts of questions were asked prior to this discussion taking place. The Siddhs then asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, said, within the Vedas, within the Hindu scriptures, the mantra of Om appears as the great incantation. And then they asked, what is the purpose of writing Ik Oankar at the start of the Japji Sahib? What was the reason for doing this? And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave them the reply that they weren't expecting. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, look Siddhs, the reason why we have chosen Ik Oankar rather than Om is because Om is actually a mantra that is linked to Maya, and it does not actually represent Vaheguru. It does not actually represent God. Om is Tridarup. It is the form of the Trinity. It has three forms. It always has. It has Rajo, Sato, and Tamo qualities. These are three qualities that appear within Maya, within the world, constantly. And within Om, it's exactly the same. It has the three forms. Now, what are these three things? Sato is the first quality that comes out of the three. And Sato is luminosity. It's pure. It is the form of pure. It's the quality of pure. It's the quality of good. And it is a quality that is seen within the saints. The second quality is Rajo, which is seen as active, and it is for people with royalty, people of householders, normal people, basically, where they live a life where they delve into spirituality and they delve into the world itself. And the last one is Tamogun. Tamogun is the third one, and that represents lethargy, evil, darkness. So these are the three qualities of Om. While Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says the reason for not choosing Om was that they wanted to represent the one God, Ik Oankar. And Ik Oankar was used because prior to that, Om had been split into many. But Onkar was also within the Veds. Onkarya is found within the Veds. Onkar is used as a term in the Veds as well. But Onkar had been loosely translated as Brahm. But over the course of time, the term had been used again and again for many other things. And what had actually taken place was, by the time Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji had come to the earth, Onkar represented 63 different things. And that was 9 different groups of the Sanatan Math, of the primitive faiths, whether they... Now the reason I use the term Sanatan Math rather than the Hindu faith is because the term Hindu faith does not exist. Sanatan is the primal faiths. Hinduism is a colloquial term that has been created by the British or the Mughals or whoever else who's come into India as a way to represent basically pagans. Sanatan Math is split into a number of different faiths or orders, in the way that the Sikh faith has the split between the Khalsa and the Sampardaic, but overall, colloquially, we are referred to as the Sikhs. Hindus really were considered the Sanatan faith. And within that you have the Vaishnavas who believe in Vishnu as the Godhead. You have the Shivites who believe in Shiva. You have the Shaktas who believe in the deity goddess. So yeah, there are many other groups that come in there. The Aghoris, you got the Hare Krishnas now, you got others as well, but there are many, many groups. But within the Sanatan faith, this term of Onkar had been split into 63. Now, I can go into the 63 and name each one, but there's no point because I have to translate each one and explain why they are. But what it is each group, there were 7 different groups. 7 different groups within the Sanatan Dharma. And the 7 groups all had 3 different terms for Onkar, but each term was attached to a trinity, like I said, Rajo, Tamo, Sato. So, some of the examples, the Trimatra Roop, or Trigan Rupa, or Triling Rupa, Tripad Rupa, they all had different names for Onkar. So, like Trimatra Roop, it is a form that has 3 matras, 3 letters, Om, Om. So, there again, Trigun Roop, Onkar has 3 different qualities, Rajo, Tamo, Sato. Tripad Roop, again, it has 3 different forms, 3 different stages. That's what that one's saying. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, look, you had Onkar there, but Onkar within the Veds represents just the different deities, the way you've got it. And that's the reason we write Ik Onkar. Rather than just leaving it at Onkar, we put Ik Onkar. And what we wanted to do was to suggest that God is one. We talk about Onkar within the form there, within the Sanatan Math, and it had been split into 63. But it goes on further. If you start looking at other Sampardayas, they split it according to, they say the Matra Roop, the letter Roop, is 2.5 letters, On is. And somebody says On has 4 letters, somebody says it has 3 letters. And again, it's split again. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji put the numeral on, and then the symbol of Onkar. But it wasn't just for the Sanatan faiths. If you look at Christianity, Catholicism had split the 3 forms, very similar to how Sikhi has 3 forms now, which is mentioned by Nandalal Ji's writings. Catholicism has the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Today we have Nirgun, Sargun, Gur Shabad. Nirgun is the form of God without any attributes. Sargun is the form of God when he takes attributes, such as the form of the Gurus. And Gur Shabad is the form of Gurbani. In the same way, obviously, they have that. Islam has 2 forms. They say that there is just God himself, and then the second form is through the prophets. So they say there's 2 forms. Every different faith seems to have different forms. But Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, no, we only believe in one God. There is one God. He is one form overall. Yes, all these differences take place with regards to Sargun, Nirgun, Gur Shabad. Those are mentioned later on in Gurbani. But Maharaj says, Sahib mera eko hai by eko hai. Maharaj says that within the Asa Diwar, Asamala Pella. And then, other Shabads within Gurbani say exactly the same thing. They'll say, Eko ek hai sab koi, hum mein garb vyap hai. Again, say that there is one God. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Pranvu ade kankara, jalthal rahim sar, ad purkha bhagat vinasi. It mentions again, there is one God. Wherever we look, there is one Parmeshwar. So, that's what's been mentioned. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, for that reason, we've put ik Oankar. We have put it that way, that there is just one God. And so from then on, they go and ask him, they say, look, okay, you've said that the term is ik Oankar, but what does that mean? It doesn't say anything. Explain what ik Oankar is. And for a start, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, in order to explain ik Oankar, it is not just a concept where you can loosely translate it. My example is, you can pick up the earliest or the basic English books on the Japji Sahib. I know as a child I had Harbans Singh Duabia's Japji Sahib Gutka, and within there you read Ik Oankar, and the English translation would say God is one. But that doesn't give you any concept or any reasoning why. Why couldn't Guru Nanak Dev Ji just write Ik Waheguru, Ik Ram, Ik Rab, write Ik Rab? It means exactly the same thing if you are looking at the English translation. Ik Oankar has actually a really deep meaning, and what we'll do is we'll go on to the meaning now. So the first question asked was, you've written Ik Oankar as the mantra, but with regards to the mantra itself, we have a number of doubts. The first doubt is, why write Ik Oankar? Why not just keep it as Ik Oan? Why write Ik Oankar? And the other thing is, why write the numeral Ik? Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji started the Gurbani with the numeral Ik. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to quickly touch on the numeral Ik. I don't think we'll get time for Oankar today. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji was asked, why have you put the numeral 1? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, because Maharaj is Ik. He is Advait. He is unique. He is completely unique in every way. So the question then was asked, okay, you're saying he's unique, but how is he unique? And in order to understand that, we have to break Ik Oankar down into subcategories. So Ik, now we're going to explain Ik. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says there are 3 things that I use in order to first explain why God is unique. The first one is God is Sujati. Now, what does Sujati mean? Sujati here means that God is the only one of his species. Whereas every other species you see, whether it's a plant, whether it's anything else, whether it's planets, whether it's black holes, whatever you look at in the infinite universe, there is more than one. With humans, we're looking at 7 billion of us now, let alone animals. Within creation itself, Maharaj has created 8.4 million species. Every one that has more than one. While Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying here, Vaheguru is Ik, he is Sujati. He is the only one of his kind, and there is no second. So the Siddhs heard that and they agreed. They said, okay, we understand that concept. So that's why he wrote Ik. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes on going, no, let me explain it further. So the second thing is, the first one is Sujati, the second one is Vijati. God is Vijati. What does that mean? God is the only one of his species, that is Sujati, and he is the only species of his kind. He has no similarities with any other. Now, when we talk about this, the main terms that we look at are scientific reasoning there. Scientific reasoning, Charles Darwin's Origin of Species states that human beings are created through a process of evolution, and we have come from the animal kingdom, namely the gorillas, and adapted into the Homo sapiens that we are today. While here Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, God is of his own. He is not similar to any other species. One, he is the only one of his species, but he's not similar to any species. You can look at a human being and go, he's got similarities to a gorilla. You can look at a lion and go, it's got similarities to a tiger. You can look at a rabbit and go, it's got similarities to a hare. You can look at any other insect and go, that's got similarities to this. You know, every other creature, something has a similarity to another creature in existence. Whether that is through the five, you have the 5 types of sensory organs, or you have 1 or 2 sensory organs. Plants are similar to other plants. No plant is one plant on its own. It's not Sujati. No plant is exempt from being linked to another species of plant. So that is Sujati and Vijati. And then the last one that Guru Nanak Dev Ji used in the first 3 is Svaigat. They say Vaheguru is Ik because he is Svaigat. Svaigat means that God is self-illuminating, self-creating. God is created from himself. God does not have a mother. God does not have a father. You can't trace God back through a lineage. You can do, according to the Greek philosophy. You can go back to the pantheon of Zeus, Poseidon, and go, well, they came from Kronos. They came from the Titans. But again, you're like, where did Kronos come from? Again, with the Hindu pantheon, you can go, well, we got Brahma, he's come from the navel of Vishnu. Shivji's come from the head of Vishnu. And Vishnu has not self-appeared, but somebody has brought him in. Maya has brought him in. Well, where's Maya come from? God is self-illuminating. Everything comes from God. You know, within the Vedas, it says, Ekon Bahosayama. It says, from the one was created everything else. You know, and within Svaigat, God is self-illuminating, and he illuminates within everything. His one form is illuminating in everything, and he's self-illuminating. Sabme Jyot Jyot Hai Soy. This is the Sabme Chan. You know, that Jyot is within everybody. That illumination is within everybody. The whole creation, according to Vedantis, is Brahm, is God. According to the Wadat al-Wujud by Ibn Arabi, it is the same. It's monism. Everything is God. So he is self-illuminating. And for these 3 reasons, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says God is one. According to Sujati, Vijati and Svaigat, God is considered one. Now, we have got 3 more to go on to, which is Desh, Kal and Vastu. But for this talk, we will leave it there. And we'll go on to the rest of Ik on the next one. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. He Gobind, He Gopal, He Dayal Lal, Prananath Nath Sakhe Deen Dardan, He Samrat Agam Puran Mohe Mehatar, Andakup Mahapayan Nanak Pare Utar, Aye Prabhu Saranagati, Kirpane Dayale, एक अखर हर मन वस्ते नानक होत निहाल एक अखर हर मन वस्ते नानक होत निहाल वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।